Joining me now are three of the best political analysts in the country. Joining us is Errol Lewis of the New York Daily News, Miguel Perez, syndicated columnist, and Diana West of the Washington Times. And thank you all for being here. You know, we just had a report from one of our reporters about the vituperative campaign that's been going on this week. It seems very early in the season to start these personal attacks. And I'd like to actually bring up a comment that Hillary Clinton made about Vice President Dick Cheney.
You can always tell when the Republicans are restless because the vice president's motorcade pulls into the Capitol and Darth Vader emerges.
You know, I was saying a little earlier that this looks like stand-up comedy. I mean, it is all very amusing for everyone to go at each other, but how constructive is this in the campaign? Miguel?
You mean he's not Darth Vader?
He's not? I heard he wasn't.
No, but it is getting kind of personal, and you know that she's not running against Bush or Cheney, so I don't see how she could, get any mileage about that. She should be talking about the issues.
Yeah.
Well, the Republicans have been raising money off Hillary Clinton's name, the Clinton name, for many, many years. It's a tried and true way to sort of rile up a certain kind of a certain segment of their base, and she's really just giving it back to them. There's a certain element in the Democratic Party that wants to see Vice President Cheney bashed again and again, or impeached, or whatever it's going to be. So she knows how to fling out a little red meat once in a while.
So support me and you won't get this group back. Diana, any thoughts on this?
Well, it's so extreme, and there's something very, I don't know, pedestrian about it, and I'm just disappointed that the standard bearer, the great hope of the Democratic Party, resorts to this kind of thing. It does, the world is so dangerous right now, and we have, evil Darth Vader being thrown into our own White House. It's just, I don't like it.
I think there are plenty other world leaders who we could put in that category.
Yes.
Let me ask you again about the Clinton campaign, because we have the disgraced fundraiser Norman Shue this week being charged in federal court with swindling investors out of $60 million. The Clinton campaign doing everything they can to distance themselves from this person, understandably, and they actually returned $850,000 of his connected donations. They also promised to do criminal background checks on donors. All of this in an effort to say this man is not associated with us, but will it damage the Clinton campaign? Miguel?
It probably will, to a certain extent, but then again, I want to know who the rest of the money went to. I mean, because there's a lot of other people who received donations from these people who actually were supposedly coerced into donating, and they're not. We don't know who these candidates are who are receiving this money. They should also be stepping up right now and saying, look, I received it, I want to give it back, before the names are uncovered. Instead of waiting until they get it uncovered and then apologize.
And unfortunately, the amounts are so small that doing something like what Miguel just described, it's an endless process that that really isn't necessarily worth trying to track down a wayward $500 donation. I think it says something really telling about the fundraising process, that someone who basically is criminally insane felt right at home and excelled within it. There's clearly a need to look at not just what the Clinton campaign does with its donors and bundlers, but what everyone does.
Well, the upside is this entire process is being scrutinized. Yeah. Diana?
Well, there's another point that I hope the media takes a look at, because from what I understand of Secret Service protocol, if you are a Clinton, a senator, or a former president, people in your sphere, people who can get close to you, have to submit their names, date of birth, and social security number. So in other words, a background check would seem to have had to have happened long ago. So the idea that the Clintons knew nothing about this man really doesn't hold water, and I'd love to see some more reporting on that.
I'm sure we will have this, we will have more details as this evolves. Quick question about Jesse Jackson charging Senator Barack Obama with being white, acting like he's white, over not supporting the Gina 6. This incident has generated groundswells of demonstrations in the area. What do you think, Miguel?
Well, civil rights movement has been revitalized by what's going on here, and I think, hanging nooses from a tree at a school is a problem that we should all be ashamed of in this country in the 21st century. This should not be happening. On the other hand, this young African-American man did beat up somebody, and that's not how the civil rights movement operated back in the 50s and 60s. So we have to separate the two.
Yeah.
And Obama has always tried to set himself apart from the mainstream civil rights movement. He's always pushing to sort of get beyond traditional politics. What happens is once in a while, when you're out of step with the NAACP and Jesse Jackson and the Children's Defense Fund and all these other leaders who have made a big deal out of this Gina case, you're gonna get some blowback, and that's really, I think, what Jackson's comment represents.
The Gina 6 turnout was so large that it certainly indicates more than just this incident is being discussed in this context. Diana, what do you think about the general civil rights movement in the country?
Well, I'm not sure that we know everything we need to know about this particular case. My mind was blown just reading a recent column in the Kansas City Star by Jason Whitlock, in which he reported that the U.S. attorney, who happens to be black on the case, actually established that there was no connection between the nooses and the 3-month later alleged assault. So again, I'm not sure we know everything here. There were a number of other interesting things that we don't usually get, such as that the young man in question this was his 3rd assault charge in 2 years. So I don't know that this is the grand cause célèbre for civil rights that people really want to get themselves attached to.
Look, what we do know is that people are hanging out Confederate flags as a statement. They're making I think, I have nothing against the Confederate flag except when it's used as to show, I'm a racist and this is what's happening there.
Yeah, no, it is an unfortunate incident. We'll be back. We'll continue our discussion in a moment. And also one of the country's top generals under attack this week. We'll discuss that and more with our panel right after this, so stay with us.
Do I want to continue? Of course. I'm not paying. Schwab is. It's their new checking account. Schwab refunds all ATM fees at any ATM. Plus, they are giving me this ridiculously high interest rate. I mean, my money was just sitting in my old checking account, just kind of sitting there.
You need to get 5,000 brochures to the trade show, 200 personalized letters mailed, and update the training manuals. From printing and mailing to document services, turn to PIP to turn down the stress. PIP, easing the pain of business.
From Academy Award winner Paul Haggis comes a film the top critics are calling a must-see movie.
The murder was committed in our jurisdiction.
That's where it gets murky.
Roger Ebert gives it 4 stars. A masterful film.
My son deserves better than this.
Powerful, intelligent, and provocative.
You have no idea what we did over there.
Jones gives the best performance of his career from the director of Crash, Academy Award winners Tommy Lee Jones, Charlize Theron, and Susan Sarandon. In the Valley of Ella. Rated R. Now playing select theaters.
Communicate in less than a second with Nextel Direct Connect.
Nice work.
The largest and fastest push-to-talk network on the planet. That's getting it done at sprint speed. Visit sprint.com/Nextel.
Introducing Del Vostro. Customized systems, services, and expertise designed just for small business. Available with software to keep you productive, including Windows Vista Business and Microsoft Office Small Business 2007. The new Del Vostro.
Larry King tonight. Kathy Griffin on her censored Emmy speech.
This is fantastic. As a comedian, I live for this stuff.
Plus Dan Rather on suing CBS for $70 million. Larry King, tonight 9 Eastern, only on CNN.
Closed captioning provided by Head On. Apply directly to the forehead.
Head On. Apply directly to the forehead.
Apply directly to the forehead.
Apply directly to the forehead.
Head On is available without a prescription.
We are back with Errol Lewis, Miguel Perez, and Diana West. And I'd like to bring in the General Petraeus Iraq situation this week. The Senate voted 75 to 25 to condemn an anti-war ad that really took on the reputation of the U.S. commander in Iraq, General Petraeus. President Bush actually criticized Democrats for not being stronger in condemning that. Let's listen to what the president had to say first.
Most Democrats are afraid of irritating a left-wing group like MoveOn.org, are more afraid of irritating them than they are of irritating the United States military.
So he's accusing Democrats of playing politics with the war. What do you believe?
Yes, it's not the Democrats. The Democrats should be condemning move on. I think the best friend that Bush has right now is move on. Sometimes I wonder whether they're Republicans in disguise, because, I mean, these ultra-liberals, what supposedly have given ammunition to Bush and the Republicans to continue the war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's classic Bush politics. Split the country down the middle and try to come up with slightly more than half and just kind of inch along. It's how he's won his elections. It's how he's tried to govern. It hasn't worked particularly well. In this case, with the MoveOn.org ad, there was no particular reason Democrats had to come out and denounce it. I mean, I think a fair number of Democrats felt the same way as the president, that it was a disgusting ad, a distraction at best, an unwarranted attack on someone who's got more important things on his mind than some ad in the New York Times. So I think it was really a distraction that the president tried to use for political reasons, and it's about as unfortunate as the ad itself.
Diana, Senate Democrats this week failed to pass any measure to change the course of the war. What's your view on how Democrats are proceeding through their own policy agenda?
Well, I'd like to address Errol's last comment, because I don't think this was a matter of Bush playing politics. You had this really disgraceful attack on General Petraeus's honor and conduct as a commander, and you had all of the Democrats, to a man and woman, not moving away from it, not denouncing it, indeed finding nothing objectionable about it. And I think it put our whole debate last week onto the worst kind of footing, and it distracted from the important questions. President Bush, in this case, I've been quite critical of him in terms of the war, but in this case, he said the only thing that could be said to defend the general, and to really wonder where the Democrats are, and also joining him in doing so.
Yeah.